Hey. So, meditation. Love it or loathe it. Do it or don't do it. Most of us kind of think we want to do it. Most of us say, oh, yeah, that's on my to-do list. Or, yeah, I know I should do that. But if you're anything like me and your brain is like a hurricane, then this can be more of a challenge than we may care to admit. So that's what I'm going to be exploring today. Hi, I am Kylie Ansett. I am the Alignment Whisperer, and I help you get into alignment with your inner wisdom so that you can live a life of purpose. And I'm coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and this is your daily dose of alignment. Okay, meditation. This is the topic of the day. And it's very ironic because I have taught meditation. I have done meditation. I've done meditation courses. I've done meditation retreats. And I would say that I know it's not good to say this, but I do feel like I'm maybe the worst meditator that is out there. But you know, isn't it the way that you teach what you need to learn? Or if that is the way, then this is a perfect example of that. You teach what you need to learn, right? So yes, I have actually been a meditation teacher, which I kind of look back and find very ironic since But it was good for me because when I was teaching meditation, I was sure as heck a lot more focused on it, and I was following the instructions because I was giving the instructions. But let me tell you, it doesn't mean that suddenly, or that even now, even today, being a meditator was that easy. Like, basically, it's one of those things where if you can't do it, don't give up. And that's my message for you today, is basically, so if meditation is something that you aspire to, why? That's probably the first question. Now, I know for myself from teaching it and from doing it as well or not well as I may have, that meditation is good, not necessarily while you're sitting on the cushion, but it's good for the rest of your life, for the other 23 and a half hours or 23 hours and 50 minutes, as it sometimes is. It's good for the rest of it. It's good for your non-meditation time. The meditation time itself might be like, it feels like a battle of the wills. It feels like a fight between you and you. And it's all happening in silence. And like, I would say for myself, 100%, I feel like I'm that swan on the lake. On the surface, it all looks calm, but underneath it's like, it's a hurricane in the brain. It's a hurricane in the brain. So here's some tips that I have found useful for myself and that I thought I'd share with you. So first tip is, don't beat up on yourself because if you have a really negative feeling about your lack of meditative abilities, then how likely is it that you're going to plonk yourself down the next day? Like, you're not going to do it because you felt bad because you gave yourself an admonishment for being not so good at it yesterday. So now it's left a bad taste in your mouth. So what's the likelihood that you're going to go and try and do it again when that's the association you have with it? Like, it's unlikely to happen, right? So that's the first thing. Don't beat up on yourself. Patience. It's like when you're, a little kid is learning how to walk. You're not gonna shout at them for falling over 500 times. This is just the way it goes. So that's the first thing. The second thing is keep it short. Now, I have tried a million different lengths for meditating, and I find that if I stop before it's starting to get too crazily irritating, it's definitely better. Now, the 1 hour meditation never was my thing. The 40-minute meditation, never really. Like, I think 10 minutes is pretty good. And if you can do 10 minutes with relative ease, as in, not that you're keeping yourself 100% focused for 10 minutes, but that the experience itself is one that is not either disappointing nor frustrating, but you're feeling okay about it, then 10 minutes is good. And then if you can sustain that for a while, then maybe 15 minutes. I find that is what works for me. Now, the next thing I have found that has been really useful is the using an app, because then I don't have to think about the time. And I've tried lots of different apps, but the app that gives you a beginning and an end. So there's a lot of meditation apps where they give like a little chime at the beginning of your time and a chime at the end of your time, or obviously at the end of your time is more important. Now that way you don't have to be disturbing yourself to go, is 10 minutes up, is 15 minutes up, and like looking at the clock or whatever. So it really is like having your teacher there who is guiding you. I have used apps that have chimes that come up every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes or whatever. So that can be useful. I found after a while that was not so useful, because then I spent too much time thinking about that. So that's something to play with though. So it can kind of help bring you back. Like if you've ever done a guided meditation, and of course that's another thing to try as well. I personally don't like guided meditations because I find that they're more like visualizations rather than meditations. My goal, if I'm meditating, is to really just focus on one single thing, whatever that may be. What I'm playing with at the moment is an app where I was looking for my phone. My phone's here. It's an app called Oak, and that's the one that does the chime at the beginning and the end, and it's like a nice meditation bowl ding, so that's kind of nice. And this is the trick that I have used. Okay, when I started doing this, it really shifted things for me. Have you ever gone into a Brown study? Now, this may be an Australian term, or it may just be like, I don't even know, it may just be some really old-fashioned term. But have you heard the term a Brown study? I don't know. I don't know what else it's called by. But basically, when you go into a Brown study, it's when you kind of just, you zone out. Like your eyes kind of focus on something, but they're glazed, and you're not seeing what you're seeing, and you're in that sort of state. I call that a Brown study. I don't know what other people call it. But anyway, and if someone's talking when you're in a Brown study, like you don't hear anything they say. Like it's not that you're actively shutting them out. You're zoned out. Now, I use that technique. I can't even talk. I use that technique for meditation. I use that for meditation. Here's how. I zone out on myself. So what I have is I've got the hurricane. I got the hurricane going on in here. I've got the hurricane going on. I have a lot of internal dialogue, and it's very insistent, and it's very active, and it's very like listen to me, and how about this, and what about that? Like my brain is, whoa, like just totally go, go, go. So the zone out is the same way that you go into a Brown study and you completely block out everything else. You do that to yourself, or I do that to myself. I call it ignoring. So instead of sitting down to meditate, what I do is I sit down to ignore. And that kind of makes me laugh right at the beginning of my meditation, because I'm thinking, I'm here to ignore myself. I'm here to ignore